We have someone from the public here. We need to take her issue right off. I
John, you're on.
I'm out of here.
Do you want me to start rushing people out?
Yeah, could you get, yeah, please.
Thank you.
What about this assessment?
Yeah, you're here.
I am.
I don't even have an agenda.
I don't know if there is an agenda.
I've got one here, Clint.
It's too late for me. It's all over. 3 o'clock. You people don't know 3 o'clock. So.
Need a motion on the minutes of December.
So moved.
We need to call a meeting to order.
Where's Jan?
And
I don't
is it
know.
still being recorded? That's
Yes, it
Doing
is.
another
It is.
meeting.
still on?
Oh,
Okay.
we can still go on.
I'm gonna call a meeting to
So moved.
order.
There she is.
I'll move the minutes.
Calling the meeting to order for the Board of Assessors. And citizens' comments. There aren't any. Approval of the consent calendar.
So moved.
Second.
Second?
Any discussion? All in favor? Okay. Official actions.
The number 12 came in and paid, so you can ignore that one.
What? Which one?
Number 12.
Number 12, 2018-12,
That's the
has
first
been
one.
paid.
Okay.
Number one on the top.
13, 14, 15, and 16 are all personal property. Loader gone, Smoking Annie moved to Monson, Stone Company passed
Closed.
away and closed, $8 still on the books. Wessel B&B sold the property, 1989 still, so if you could do those 4 personal property, that'll get that done.
I'll move them 4. Do you want them separate
No,
or?
that's good.
Okay. So moved.
Second.
Second. Any discussion on those four?
What is smoking?
So
Annie?
we're a
They used to.
paid,
They'll
used to
smoke
have the,
anything.
smoked fish.
Yeah.
stuff.
That was their motto.
smoking Alvers,
I
actually.
guess I missed them.
Time is appropriate.
They were smoking alewives.
Wow.
Alewives.
Smoking
Ale.
alewives.
Okay, so
And
what
that
are we
was
doing
wicked
with
good.
We're ready to
Pronounced
vote
with a
on
short
this.
E, not an
All
A.
in favor of those 4? Okay.
Now, what, are we
Either.
paying these or what?
No, those are.
We are baiting those
Those
4.
are abating.
Okay. Robert McDonald, can you come on? He is here representing Hadcar, Hannaford. Yeah.
Good evening.
you doing?
Oh, this
How are
is
you?
the
Paul
highest.
McDonald.
Yes.
Yes, the highest one in the whole
state.
state. I know. I said,
Yes.
yay, we've got something going
Yeah,
for us.
that's good.
Yes.
Good.
Come
This
to
is
Waldeboro.
this is the only appeal we have filed in all of New England
Oops.
for
And
2018.
they had to be here.
Right, there had to be a year.
Well, that's because Carol was here.
Wow.
So how would you like me to proceed?
I think you
This
need
is
to
a
make
fine
case.
opportunity.
Okay.
Yeah, for you to visit our lovely town.
Does the board have my,
They do have a packet.
all right, okay.
Have you, everybody got it?
Number 17.
Gee.
Yeah, I have it. I read them all. I don't get to read as many novels as I'd like to.
Yeah, that's the one right there.
There you
That's
go.
the big one.
That's the
yeah.
one, right.
I
So,
love maps.
so if you want a clearer, I don't know how well that came out, the long spreadsheet with all the assessments.
Yep,
Is it clear? Can you read it?
This one?
Yeah.
it's large enough to read.
Yeah,
That's what you mean.
yeah, it
Okay.
is.
So,
Yeah, these are all the other stores.
as you know, we had renovated and expanded the store here in town. And
Good job.
and we did that trying to keep it open.
We appreciate that.
Right, so that was an important thing. So a lot of contractors needed to work at night.
Yep.
Today, the assessor asked me for the actual costs, how I came up with my income approach, and I provided that to the assessor this afternoon. How we look at the stores is we use, as most assessors in Maine and New England use, the evaluation cost service called Marshall and Swift. And you can, it is, you could pick a supermarket, you could pick a hotel, and it will give you base costs that then you have to adjust to the local cost multipliers and to the date of assessment. So we went through that process. and came up with a value of about 3.3 million on the cost approach. And
Just the improvements.
No, and that includes the land. The improvements came in about 2.7, and then we added about $359,000. It's the current land assessment under the,
That's the current one.
yes,
Okay,
so we
market.
use that.
Yep.
In our income approach, what we look at are rents that we're paying in other jurisdictions of similar size. And then we, since this store, we do have it in intercompany rent, that's not market, so we didn't use that. So in our income approach, we came up with a value rounded about 2.7. So we had a range of 2.7 to 3.3, and that's how the midpoint was about 3.1 million.
Explain the concept of rent to me one more
Okay.
time, please. Why is rent even involved? You own the property, you own the buildings.
But there are three approaches to value. There is the market approach.
Yep.
There's the cost approach, and there's the income approach.
Okay.
So one of the stores that we rent, we don't own, is Bar Harbor.
But why would that approach be used in this case?
You have to look at them.
You have to consider them.
Okay.
You have to consider them.
Okay.
And so we did consider them.
Yep.
And from the standpoint of, we took the midpoint of about rounded 3.1 million. So our range was 2.7 to about 3.3, okay?
Yep.
And so, and as far as, as far as this list is concerned, the one that I had highlighted, and probably didn't come through, is North Berwick. That's a relatively new store. It was built from the ground up. And that's at $155 a square foot, land and building. And we're asking for the value come down from $220 a square foot to $170 a square foot.
To match
So
that.
it will still be the highest assessed per square foot Hannaford in our portfolio.
We can advertise with that.
If you go to the back page of your packet,
Madison.
Yep.
Lincoln.
tip it over, that's just the picture. Your last
You want it
page.
here. Okay.
Everybody at the very back, but
Yep.
then flip back, not the picture page, okay? So mainly this is, up at the top, you see 18809 where the arrow is. There was an error in the square footage of the building, and I found that I had put in 113 square feet when actually it was the distance from the front to the back of a section. So by changing that, lowering that 113, minus 113, you take 21,000 off, which is the 352.80. So that was an error that was found. The other error in here is the question of the walk-in freezer and cooler, which are the bottom three, total 296,000, right below the 21.
Yep.
Robert brought in what was spent in those areas by year. And the question is whether that is taxed under the 2 million something of personal property. And it's probably in there, but they do not specify, they just give a year and an amount, all the year's stuff. So I couldn't identify whether it was in there or not. I did write to all 55 towns, there are 62 Hannafords. I got copies of all the cards if you wanna look at them. There were only 8 other towns that actually priced the freezers and the coolers separate. And that, it kind of come about when all of a sudden you get all these beer caves. It's like, wait a minute, now I got a $50,000 cooler inside a building. And so anyways, my recommendation for tonight would be to remove those and the square footage, or lower the assessment by 317. The abatement would be 5,325.60, which is what's on that page.
How do you feel about that?
From the standpoint of what I told the assessor, is that if, that will be fine for tonight, but I would like to work with the assessor going forward to try to mirror the cost approach that we provided to the assessor.
Do you agree on the approach?
Yes, I use the Marshall and Swift.
Okay.
The only difference between mine and his, as you can see, is basically an A grade was put on the building, and there's no other A grade in the whole state. Nobody has gone to that grade. So that's where that would be an adjustment. He brought in up above, up under lot improvement, I had 200,000. He brought in tonight showing pavement and lights
Like the parking lot.
at about half that. So for next year, there would be an adjustment to those
Okay.
two factors. And
And
bring it
and if we can work to that goal
Sounds
next
like you're
year.
communicating with
Yes,
one
yeah,
another.
and that's what we try to do.
Yep.
We try to work proactively with towns,
Appreciate it.
all right?
Yeah,
We do.
We all do.
You know, the,
I was shocked.
We're the only grade A, huh?
I was
One
shocked.
more,
and again,
one
from the
more special
standpoint.
thing about our Hannaford.
Right. And the cost
Yeah.
that we used in Marshall and Swift is excellent,
Okay.
okay?
Yeah.
Right.
Yep,
You
okay,
seem to
so
be
that will
very
make the
happy.
difference.
So I'd move 5,325.60 for that.
Is there a second?
Second,
Any further discussion? All in favor?
All right.
Sorry.
I'll be in touch. Pardon?
I love the new building.
Well, good,
It
good.
looks
Thank you.
very nice in the community.
And they don't have macaroni and cheese, but I
Very
guess that don't
nice.
matter.
Thank you for expanding the store.
I was shocked.
It don't.
Two ladies
Yeah,
showed
it's
up
one of them that
giggling
don't.
in here.
She
We
says,
would
"No,
be
we
turning
don't."
this in. It's like,
in the box?
they wanted it
Don't
stamped.
get
It
no
was
mayonnaise,
interesting.
that'd
But
be
that's
that.
what, that's,
God damn it.
that's what we need to do.
Yeah.
You know, that's what we need to do.
Thank you.
All right? Thank you for your
Have a good
time.
night.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
17 is there.
You're welcome.
Okay.
Gerald Bell is the next.
That one's pretty simple.
We have a couple of people here. Should we hit them
Yeah,
first?
we do. Yeah, we can.
All right, go to
We
number
deal-
20, please.
Number 20, George Enman.
Yes.
Oh,
Good evening.
Good evening.
This piece that I'm talking about is down on Dutch Neck, which I know is a hot topic tonight. Don't take that.
Came in a bad night.
Right, yeah.
Just think, I know it's this desk is smoking from that, but anyway. I'm just coming in to ask a question, and it's just very simple. I had a house on Dutch Neck that I sold a year ago. And before I sold it, I took roughly 23% of it out for an extra lot. And the reason it was 23% because I wanted to make a lot that was, that would meet the 80,000 foot criteria for a building lot. So I have what we're talking about here is a building lot. And the other 3/4 that I had there were sold with a house and so on. And my question is this, what I'm trying to find out is, I'd like to get this knocked down some because you got me valued at 160, which I understand you gotta have some kind of valuation. There's really no way that could possibly sell for 160 grand, okay, Katie? All right, you know what I'm saying? So I just wanna put myself on the mercy of the court, I guess, but just to give you an idea, I know that you have a base thing for a lot?
Yes.
Yeah, okay, so you gotta have something, and I realize that. But realistically, that lot is worth quite a bit less than that. And the reason I say that is because there were roughly 8 acres, I took out roughly 2. And the house that was left with 6 acres, and the house and all the improvements on the septic and all of that. And it was about a 3,000 foot house, by the way, and with a barn, and that whole thing sold for 360. This is a quarter of the size of that, and it's unimproved, completely unimproved. So, I mean, you're getting to, this tax bill's getting pretty close to half of what that was, and there's no way you'd ever get that for the lot. And that's, I mean, I'm just doing economics, just plain straight out economics. And I would like to see what I can do on that, or what you can do for me on that, if you can.
Is the lot that was carved out?
Yep.
And is the subject of our conversation
Yes,
tonight?
yes,
It's the lot 75C. right there
yes,
on the-
1.84
It's
acres.
riverfront.
Oh, okay.
It's got frontage.
It's on the-
Yes, it
Oh,
does,
it's on
it's
the
title,
water, yeah.
yeah,
It is,
it's
it
title,
is
it's not the
title.
deep stuff down the end.
Yep.
And by the way, that piece that I took out is title, it's right, I mean, when it's flat, it's flat,
Right.
it's mud. And up above that, where the other piece of land, the top of part of the piece that I cut it out of, not that it's deep water, but it had water all the time, you know what I mean? You could see water all the time, only a couple of feet, no boat or anything. But this one is completely flat, not like Butter Point or down that end.
It's
where
got
you-
like an inlet there anyway.
Yeah,
so
yeah, it's a cove there,
water's
historic
gonna
cove,
be-
yep, that's right.
Okay.
And there's no stretch of the imagination you could be deep water on that one, I can tell you that.
So
But it's a pretty little piece and everything, but it's just not worth anywhere near this value. And, you know, I mean, I own it, I'd like to make it worth more, but it isn't. And in all practicality, you could never get anywhere near that for a sale. So just, that's my, my argument, I guess, or my
It's pretty close to
Statement.
Marine Park.
awful close. Well, you know, Elaine,
Yeah, that's Elaine.
I'm right next to Elaine, right. And Lane's got a pretty cute little house right there that looks right out on the thing, and I can see her concerned about the park.
Yeah.
And, but at any rate, I mean, it's a pretty spot down there.
What you got to say, Darryl?
Just to give you everything, the appeal was dated 2/27/18 when he signed it. It actually arrived with a postmark of March 10th, and the actual last day to appeal was March 5th.
Oh,
So he was 5 days late, but the board can consider appeals, but just to put it out there.
Yeah.
If we go back to the house that sold, he did sell it at 360, we had 377 on it, or 104%. So using, as he mentioned, the bare lot of 150 with houses, we're doing pretty good. Dowell is under contract too, I believe. So we seem to
That's
be
right,
coming
Dowell
in
is
the
under
range
contract, yep.
with the buildings. When
Yep.
it comes to raw land, forget it.
yeah.
They just cannot seem to sell land in Waldeboro, whether it's the cost of construction is one argument I've heard.
I
But
know,
maybe if
absolutely.
George would just build a nice house there, he'd get his money back.
Yeah. Well,
So we've got the whole river at the 150. The only other thing to be considered here would be if we call it an inlet versus the river. And I have not walked it, I haven't looked at it.
no, there's a right behind, I'll tell you know where the marine park is, obviously? There's a culvert that goes through there, and it runs
Yes.
behind Abel's, okay, back
Yes.
here.
I know.
There's Abel.
Yeah, and it runs behind here and comes right out into Mayan, and it's a brook, a river, or whatever you wanna call it, you know?
So I don't know if,
That looks like an inlet to me, just looking at it.
Yeah.
But you're right, without walking it, it's hard
You're
to.
welcome to go walking anytime you want.
so I don't know if you wanna just table for a sidewalk
I
and
would
lower it
table
down,
for a
or
sidewalk.
you can
We need a
deny
motion.
on too
Bob.
late.
Yeah.
I moved to table that till you guys meet and,
Sure.
yeah.
Alrighty,
Now, do you want me to go with you, or who's gonna go?
You
You?
too.
Daryl and I'll go.
Oh, okay, you don't need me.
is there markers?
Yeah, and I just did pink, and you can't miss them.
Is
They're
the
pink?
pines all on the lot?
No, they
it's
had
down
to
the
get,
middle?
I don't know if you remember, but that, about 10 years ago, I
Got
got
wiped
that.
out?
Yeah, there's a pin here and here and here, right straight in the line.
So we
You
should
can't-
be able to see 'em.
You'll see them, and when you go down to Abel's, there's one
Yeah.
right at her driveway, and if you walk down, there's a monument there that stops it, and it goes into the water.
Just as long as Elaine doesn't shoot us when we walk down.
Yeah, well, that's, you're on your own
We're
there.
okay.
We're orange.
Yeah, she's pretty adamant about that.
Who tabled?
Shed.
Clint moved to table, there was a second,
Yeah.
and we need to vote in
Jane?
favor of it, if everybody's willing. All in favor? Yep.
Great.
Okay, we'll check it out.
Yeah, no, I know you will, I appreciate you
How's
guys.
Howie?
This James.
He's doing great,
Is he?
James.
101 pounds.
That's not James.
Yeah, but he's in good shape.
Were you
It's
gonna,
American.
you gonna fill in for us?
Jane's walking him all the time.
I still
Yeah,
can't
yeah.
find Charlotte on the map.
It don't exist. I
James.
just made it up.
That's
No,
number-
it's,
Where is it?
it's right next.
Charlotte, Maine?
Number
Yeah,
21.
it's next, everybody thinks it's Caroline,
Yeah.
but,
21.
it's, you know Pembroke? And
Yep.
Sure.
anybody, Perry?
Yep, yep.
Eastport, if you were,
Yep.
Eastport and
Way
you went
up.
back this way, you go to Perry to Charlotte.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Thought you meant
It must
Pembroke,
be-
New Hampshire.
No,
No, I know where
Are
Pembroke,
you
Maine
on a
is.
lake?
They're Lubec.
Yeah, yeah.
What's the
I've had it
lake?
for Pennamaquan.
Yeah, 3 o'clock
Lake of,
comes
it's
out.
an Indian name, Lake of Many
No one
Winds.
cares. No one cares.
Pennamaquan, look it up in the book.
It's
You know how many people live in there year round? Take a stab.
2.
2000.
6.
You
No,
and Jane.
yeah, me and Jane
Yeah.
blew it right up. It's 276, and we got 39 students in all the schools, all grades. So that's where we're at with that.
Now, what's the name of the lake again?
Pennamequan,
Penn,
Mequon.
Bob, I think we're going to 21 now.
I think we wanna go on here, yeah.
So how late
Thank
you gotta
sir.
go?
Yeah, I gotta get out of here.
Yeah.
No offense,
How long
3
is that?
o'clock.
To get home?
Just saying.
Oh, yeah, no, I know it. I'm staying up and running.
thanks.
Hey, listen, thanks a lot for
Yep.
Have a
letting me
good
get
night.
under the wire there on the date. too. I
And the young ladies next, what number?
They
is it?
are.
Number 21
Number
is James
21.
and Sandra O'Farrell.
Okay.
Right in order.
Well, that only makes sense. You can't even go in that house. Her house.
It's got all that tape up around it.
Burned
I saw
out.
it.
She
A
tried
car there, I
cooking,
mean, a
right?
truck and a
Well,
car.
we moved the cars because we haven't been able to get in. They
Cars?
won't,
Guys.
we can't refurbish it because it was built in the late 70s. And all that, because it had the tongue and groove,
Yep,
That's right,
all the stuff they sealed it with. They won't even clean it.
yeah.
So they won't go in until after the mud's gone, and they're gonna demolish the whole thing, and we're rebuilding.
wow.
Yeah,
Right from
that's
scratch. We
something.
can't even, I mean, we lost everything. Only 2 rooms burnt,
Yeah, but the
because,
smoke.
but
But
the
the
smoke and the
smoke,
damage
yeah.
for the rest, so we are demolishing it. So,
Oh,
and they
isn't
won't
that
go in
awful?
till the end of May, beginning of June, because they don't wanna get their truck stuck.
That makes sense.
So we won't be moving into fall.
Oh, golly.
You-
That's a
So
long
you all
walk.
good on this now?
Are you saving the garage?
It depends how good they destroy it. They may get the garage
I'll take the
too.
doors if you don't want them.
Okay.
Just to be upfront, legally, April 1st it was there, it goes for the whole year, but the board has been very kind on fires and whatnot.
Yeah, we just was.
And even late dates, but I'm just letting you know,
Okay, I appreciate it.
and the recommend is the 349440.
So more.
How do you feel about that?
I feel good.
You feel good about that?
Now I can pay for the rent I gotta stay until I move in now.
We got a
So
motion,
moved.
is there a second?
Second.
Discussion, all in favor?
So I do have a question. So when we
No, no.
rebuild, do you reassess? Is that how you
April
do it?
1st is the day.
Okay,
So when you rebuild, you'll not get the depreciation that you had,
I
like,
understand that.
like it was 81%. And we don't commit till September, but I'll
So it'll
watch
be
to see
close-
if everything goes.
I can let you know when it's done, because it'll be close to September, October, I think, before they're done, because it's
We'll
gonna
get
take.
April 1st.
Are you rushing me?
Just saying 3 o'clock. We had this discussion.
He's gonna get up at 3:30.
He's a hungry man. We haven't had dinner.
I have.
All right, let's move on.
See you next
Thank you,
year.
thank you,
Thanks very
Sandy.
much.
Good night, people. Thank
night.
you.
Night.
Yeah,
Okay, so do
What
we
do we
vote
got?
on that one?
Yeah, that
Okay,
was a
that's right,
problem.
we're good.
Yeah,
We're back to
We're good on
18.
that.
Back to
Back up to
18, yep.
18.
Gerald Bell has the little building next to the Subway.
he does.
Has some yard sales out there every
Oh,
once in a while.
yeah.
He's letting that fall apart.
People would love to buy it, but
I
he
know.
isn't selling. He says all property is dropped on Route 1. I recommend no change.
It hasn't.
So moved.
He hasn't kept, he doesn't take care of it.
there's a motion of no change, is there a second?
Second.
Any discussion?
No, what does that mean, no change?
Don't abate,
It's not gonna
zero.
no abate.
Denied,
Oh,
No baby.
denied.
Yep,
zero.
all in
Okay.
favor? Okay, that one's denied. You're taking notes on all these, aren't you?
Yes. DF Partnership bought property on the backside of Taylor Pond. This is a logging outfit from Texas, I believe. And they actually had abutting properties, and I had combined it under one and didn't get rid of the other. They have paid all the taxes. They didn't pick it up, but I would like to send them back $300 and
That's very kind of you.
$240.
Is
So
there a
moved.
motion? Motion made, second,
Second.
in favor? Okay, that abates.
No, what do we do, abates?
Abated, yep. that one's
30240.
approved. Yep,
22.
22 is the Paysons. They live down by Cooley on
back.
Back Cove. They have been upset with their taxes forever. Say the market they can't get, I recommend no change. It's the same price down there as everybody.
What's their argument? Why are they saying that? ought to
Stagnant
be
market.
abated?
Well, they sent you information from all over the state in different areas and things that have sold, and they just argue that we're way over assessing everybody. The only problem is has not been renovated. It is probably a tear down if somebody someday actually buys it. but.
Well, if it's a tear down, don't you feel the value is perhaps a bit high?
But the building's there, so until it gets torn down, you value it as the camp that they have on
Just
the
says
lot.
summer place.
Okay, okay. Anybody got a motion? No change or denial?
I deny this.
No? Is there a second?
Second.
Any discussion on this? All right, all in favor?
Hey, Lou, in Sherman Point in Camden?
Number 23.
23.
The last three are all campers and mobile homes out at the lovely Lady Slipper
Yeah.
Lane, and these things disappeared and owed us $33.60, $81, and $151.20. Recommend that you abate all three of these
So moved.
from
So
Lady
these
Slipper.
guys are just gone, and
They're gone,
and who
right.
knows who
History.
lived in them
There's a
right there.
motion.
Yeah.
Is there a
And we
second?
wanted them
We
gone.
were- And we,
Is there a second?
What are we
Motion?
doing with it?
To
Abate it.
abate.
To
Yeah.
abate?
Is there a second?
second.
Okay, all in favor?
You may adjourn. Oh, no, we can't. We got a backside, don't we?
These farmlands.
Okay.
There's three farmlands,
Sorry, we're looking at 23.
no,
20.
4-2 on the
No, I'm
back.
looking at
Flip
the ones
over.
we just finished. 23, 24, and 25 are done.
Yeah.
And now we're looking at number 1, under 4.2.
He's been in open space, he was in farmland, this is the Meyer Farnsworth Point. Spears farmed it a long time ago, now Williams is farming it again. So a switch over back to farmland for part of the property. Susan Moreland is down on Friendship Road and is farming, and Craig Martell is farming out by the high school.
So all of these are worthy of
Yes.
abatements?
They
So
are.
moved.
Current use
I thought
assessment.
Melvin wasn't farming anymore.
Well, apparently he's cutting this hay, I don't know.
So
what he's
just
doing
so
with
I
it.
understand, the total abatement request for all three is 234 plus 43, 277.
And they're not abatements, it's current use classification
Okay, so it's
versus
a reduction in
Yes,
taxes
going
due to
forward, yeah.
reclassification. All right, there's a
Yep.
motion. Is there a second?
Second.
Any discussion? All in favor? Okay.
The next one, Emily Kalina bought,
Kalina.
not bought next to her sister,
Right.
I believe, and it was in tree growth. She does not want to do tree growth. I believe it's all going to the land trust, but they didn't own it April 1st. She doesn't wish to have a plan, and
You want the 10,000?
so she gets switched over to open space, and actually it's an increase of 10,000 from the tree growth, I believe, but yes, that would be the reduction.
Okay.
So moved.
So it is a reduction of 10,000 on the Kalina property. That's what you're asking for.
Well, it's to value it as open space versus tree growth. And it actually, well, it's a difference of 1,000 from last year. It was 110, I think it's gonna go to 109. So actually,
You've
there is
got 109, 103 on there right now. If what I'm looking at is correct.
and actually, under open space, it's actually gonna go to 112. So it is not a reduction. Last year, it was,
You see, what you're doing is increasing it by $3,000.
yeah.
Is that what the suggestion is?
So she only gets 10,000 off, not as much as she would have under tree growth.
Right, that's why he's got 10.
So it's actually gonna be valued at 112, where normally it would be valued at, and last year it was 109.
Well,
So it's going up 3.
That's right.
But it's 10 less than if it didn't have any open space.
So it's a
Oh,
reduction
okay.
in taxes.
So there's a
right?
net reduction of 10, is what you're arguing for.
There's a net from last year of actually increased 3.
Increase.
Okay.
If she had paid the penalty and got out of tree growth, she would have went to 122.
Right.
But because she moved to open space, it's 112.
So it's a reduction of 10.
Yes,
All right.
from
Thank
full value.
Yep.
you. Ken, did you move?
Yes, I did.
Is there a second?
Second.
Sec- Oh,
I just done it because I.
Any
I
further
know her,
discussion?
so.
All in favor? Done.
And the land trust picked up the 20 acres behind Helen Benelli's and
Jesus.
would like exempts.
Another one of them. Another one,
I don't like this.
another one, another one,
There's too much. There's too many of them.
I guess. Oh.
Pretty soon,
Did they pick it up
Waldeboro
as
is gonna
an
be
owner,
all
or did they
MBL.
pick it up
They
as
own
an
it.
easement? They own it outright?
They own
it.
Okay.
These you don't have no choice, do you? Do you have a choice? You don't, do you?
No.
I mean, they're all incorporated, 501(c) or whatever. Just.
Wonder what they're gonna do with it.
Is this abated?
They asked me about giving them my father's property down in Bremen a while ago. They said you won't have to worry about it and we won't have to pay taxes on it. And I said, well, that don't make no sense. I've been paid taxes on it. for
Motion
all
to
these
approve.
years.
Is there a motion to approve the
Not for me.
abatement?
Motion.
Is there a second?
I'll second.
Further discussion? All in favor?
I'm voting just because of the time frame.
That's why he does these late,
All
so
right.
fast.
I think we're done. This meeting is
I
adjourned.
do them because I'm not chair and things can go pretty fast.
This meeting is adjourned.
Do you want these, Daryl, these papers?
Yes.
Yeah, I just as soon give them all to you.
Why do we have to give
Can
them
I
back?
borrow your pen?
You don't have to, but.
We get them out there
Got
and